Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ESL arena here in Katowice. This is the ESL 1 Cologne offline qualifiers. We have 6 teams left, and it's a terrible thing to have to do, but we have to cut this down to 3. That's right, 3 more spots remaining at the major. We've had tears of joy, tears of sadness, we've had excitement from Hooch earlier on, but there's no laughing now. No jumping around, no dancing for these guys. It's very serious, of course. This is their last chance, and there is no turning back. Whether it's pressing down the W key or putting one foot in front of the other, these guys need to go forward and secure that spot for themselves at the major. First team we're going to be seeing here is Dignitas, of course, who started off rockily up against FaZe. They did improve later on, and finally bundling the Renegades out of the competition 16-12, breaking the heart of a whole continent. And their opponents, of course, coming all the way from the east, will be TyLoo. This is why they're here, to play for this spot. This is why they picked up the mouse and keyboard and got serious about it in the first place. They said they've learned a whole lot from all of their mistakes and their victories so far this tournament. But the time is now. It's time to show up. It's time to look at your teammates and look at your screen, because that's all they're going to have alongside of them. Let's get this one started. 3 major spots left. Will it be TyLoo or Dignitas? Alex, what do you have to say?
I have to say, I can't believe it's come to this. TyLoo and Dignitas and just won to the major. The storyline starts with Dignitas, and the story there is, of course, that they made this mistake before over in the MLG Columbus. They couldn't get out of the qualifier, and they thought they could right those wrongs here in Katowice, trying to get to that major next month. And now it falls to 1 map, and that's going to be all-important veto, of course, coming up ASAP. I'm joined by Pansy and Natu, and the other side of the coin is TyLoo. Very exciting premise within CSGO, and they have just 1 map to secure it. It's crazy stuff, it truly is.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, TyLoo's Achilles heel so far has been a T-side, has to be said. Something they were actually primarily good previously, but I think teams may have caught up on what they'd like to do. There's a lot of explosive plays, very simplistic, just using that individual skill they have, which is the pool of skill they have is very, very deep.
Let's just play catch up.
Yeah, looking at this, Cash going out straight away, not too surprising. Again, we're going to see TyLoo away from that map, which I'm always going to be pleased about. I enjoyed their Mirage, but we saw the same flaws as you highlighted, that T-side being a real issue. But I'm glad that Dignitas are not gambling here. They've not played that kind of risky card by keeping Nuke till the end, assuming that maybe TyLoo would take it out. They're just taking it away. Because let's be honest, Dignitas have had real issues with their vetoes until now.
They really have, and now look where that does leave us. We are going to be seeing Cobblestone still left around. And let's not forget the Mirage option for TyLoo, a 16-14 game versus Splice.
And this is going to be very exciting, but it's not going to be Mirage, it's Cobblestone. Okay, so this is new to my eyes, and if TyLoo didn't go for Mirage, that's got to be saying something here, because they were pretty competent on there. They got outdone in the end. Their T-side was lacking,
I think there's more respect towards Dignitas.
It has to be.
Mirage, well, usually Dignitas Mirage is really good. Obviously, this tournament, it wasn't that good against FaZe, but when you go down the memory lane, it is one of the better maps for Dignitas.
Would it be fair to frame this as one of the more successful vetoes for Dignitas, not forgetting their slip-ups via Nuke with Hellraisers, and again, it seems to have gone quite well for them. Mirage and Cobble, some of their best, Lauren.
I'd say it's just not as risky. I think taking away Nuke early, moving away from Cash early, it's very much respecting their opponent and also being, well, pretty much very honest about themselves, saying we can't risk it at this point. It's gone too far already. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting game between these two. Yeah,
we're going to be waiting to see a lot of the individuals of Dignitas actually have that performance, a major worthy performance. Tensky has been under a lot of fire from us here at the desk. Statistically, one of the worst players on Dignitas at this Katowice offline qualifier.
That's rough, isn't it? But at the same time, it has to be said, even though Dignitas has been a little bit lackluster, I still favor them in this matchup against TyLoo. Has to be said, unless TyLoo's just going to find a new gear somewhere and going to be able to just basically play better in afterplan situations, because that's been a massive issue for them, first of all. And then just second of all, they need to be a little bit more dynamic on their T-sides.
Need to raise into question the performance of TyLoo on Cobble. Last I remember seeing was actually over in Malmö, and we saw them have this incredibly passive CT side that made us incredibly uncomfortable on the desk, but it seemed to work out for them, picking up that big win there in Sweden. Now though, this is make or break. It does truly come down to 1 map, and TyLoo want to try and complete this journey. They've come so far, and yet they go up against a very hungry Dignitas. Lauren, are you kind of matching Natu's sentiments here, suggesting that it's a lot easier to go with Dignitas in this situation?
100%. They have everything they need in this one. An incredible lineup, and as you said, now that they've got a real hunger you've got to see everyone turn up. There is no room for errors anymore. There's no one to blame. They have a map they can achieve well on. They have previous games to watch of TyLoo on. They've already had that one game today to test them and make them realize that they need this and want this as much as ever. So yeah, if there's any opportunity, it has to be now, and this is a good chance for them to actually do something impressive on.
What is beautiful about that passive B play that TyLoo can display is the fact that a lot of the T sides do want to apply a lot of pressure. When they create the ball of smoke, say they flash in, they want to be right in your face. And when you're playing passive like that, you don't really get to do that. So you are in a 5-on-5 situation at the bomb site. The CT still have a lot of utility to work with. Well, it is actually it's something that these teams are not very used to playing against.
Well, the only team I've seen doing it recently would be Renegades, and they have an extraordinarily good CT side on that map specifically, who play extremely passively. But there we go. I think both these teams are ready for this one, Alex.
Yeah,
that way.
As the roars do go out from the respective circles, it does signify that it is time for this game to get underway. Cobblestone, the choice of side was given to Dignitas, and do let that be reflected as it's almost time to jump into game. Your casters for this one are going to be a pairing we have yet to introduce. It's going to be fun to see Metis and Vendetta digging their teeth into what does promise to be a spectacular best of one. One of these teams goes, well, a long way home, and one of them is going to be waiting in the wings for the major. It's going to be awesome, and you guys better believe it starts right here, right now.
Thank you so much, Alex. Yes, we haven't casted together for over a year and a half, I think, Ben.
It's been a while.
I'm looking forward to it, bro. I'm looking forward to it. However, it's going to be Cobblestone again.
It is.
That we've seen a couple times.
Yeah, I know you're starting to go on your last nerve when it comes to Cobblestone, but much to your, I guess, well, to as a bit of a, tiny bit of a saving thing for you here is the fact that TyLoo have a pretty unique way of playing their CT side on this map. So that might be something interesting to watch out for. And, well, we're going to get right into the action. Fancy's actually going to take the straight-up fight. Actually finds 2 frags. Cajun and MSL not being able to stand tall versus Fancy early on here and gets so much information as well in the midst of things. Spots out pretty much the entire Dignitas team there. Well, you can see the rotation that has been made as a result of it. 2 players already on that A-bomb site, ready to defend up the defenses. And really, with a man advantage like this, you can kind of allow yourself to spread yourself a tiny bit thin if you're TyLoo.
Pretty ridiculous start, isn't it, from Fancy, opening things up with authority. Pretty sad.
And he is hailed as probably the best rifler in China at the moment. So, you would look to him to be one of those impactful fraggers on the Chinese side. Somebody actually going very aggressive here in the middle area, which is great because this gives a lot of information to the Chinese side, and you can already tell they've taken that information to good use, as 3 players already have gone up towards that B-bomb site where Dignitas are currently heading.
Absolutely, 35 seconds left, and it's pretty sad that one of these teams isn't going to be attending the major.
It's pretty crazy to think about it, actually. These are 2 teams I would have expected to be among the top 8.
Absolutely. Let's see if they can pull back the pistol round, and they're going to have to execute right here, right now. Config lands the headshot, but there is DD from behind with his CZ. One of the few upgraded pistols has been taken off the table, though, from Config. And now Captain Mo, who was just chilling in Chicken Coop, has been put down. 13 seconds left. The bomb is going to get planted. It's all up to somebody. First frag comes down. Headshot onto Config. 1v1. Rubino pulled off a crazy clutch earlier today, and he's going to get another one. Not quite as crazy, but just as effective. Dignitas have the pistol.
And what a turnaround right there. TyLoo had that almost perfectly. And for the better part of it, a lot of people are probably going to be looking at Mo and thinking, what the hell was he doing? But I think it was pretty logical of him to expect that that plant was going to go down behind the fountain there. And at that point, all he has to do is actually look for the second member of Dignitas that's still alive and have 2 easy pickups instead. Everything just goes horribly wrong for them. Dignitas end up picking off that pistol round after a great clutch from Rubino.
Fancy tries to rinse and repeat from the last round, going for a quick peek on long. This time he does eat 65 damage and no kills for his troubles.
Dignitas just taking their time. You can see a lot of utility picked up on their side as well. A couple of SMGs, mainly rifles though, but Cajun having that Molotov as well, so he's going to be able to clear out space wherever he wants to. I'm going to smoke towards mid just to notify TyLoo that there might be some presence around that middle area. So you can see TyLoo being kept honest, having to keep 2 players towards that A-bomb site. Dignitas just slowly moving their way towards B plateau.
Somebody is here. Has to vacate the area. This gives him a wall to play behind. Flash lands, but it's Cajun B's Mac 10 that is going to rip him down. Meanwhile, Captain Mo had a couple of opportunities to tee off with his deagle, didn't connect any of them, or at least not enough for a frag, but MSL is going to be getting the plant down, and now Fancy with his CZ may just back away. It's worthwhile saving the CZ at Kevlar. It is still a bit of a power play through into round 3. They're going to have effectively nothing else to play with.
Absolutely, so might as well hold on to that if you can, and if the opportunity presents itself, then maybe you can get lucky and find an AK on one of these low members on the Dignitas side. And what's going to be interesting to see is whether or not TyLoo actually stick to that kind of a extremely passive CT style that they used at DreamHack Malmö when they managed to beat Team Liquid on this very map. And that was, it's a very volatile setup that simply banks on you being able to play off of your teammates perfectly, and also that your teammates are hitting their stride. They're actually hitting their shots, otherwise you're just going to get overwhelmed. And we've seen that happen a couple of times, actually during the PGL minor, where TyLoo actually came out ahead as winners. They did fall actually to Renegades on quite a few occasions, and were beaten pretty heavily, and that's when that CT side fails. Everything just goes awry for TyLoo, and we've seen so far at this event, not the strongest T sides coming out of them either.
This isn't going to be the strongest round. Full on eco, pure eco, 0 invested into this round. 5 USPs. And it's going to be a stack over on A. Dignitas are not going to fall into the trap. They're going to find out very shortly that B is ripe for the taking. Going to get that bomb planted, and the subsequent kill should flourish in. The question now is who's going to pick them up for Dignitas. Is it going to be a case of the farming in effect from MSL? So far, so good. His teammate has died right next to him, and there's a chance maybe of TyLoo getting a couple kills out this round, and maybe even holding on to one of these SMGs, but instead, because they have a solid buy anyway, maybe worthwhile going for an AK.
Yeah, no, there's no reason really for TyLoo to actually hold back here. Rubino's not even going to let him get the chance to actually chase after, but if you pick up those SMGs, you know you're going to have a full buy in the next round anyway. You might as well just see if you can find anything extra and potentially bolster that economy on the CT side, because as you can see, because of that force buy they had in the second round, not going to have too much utility to hold off anything from Dignitas' side on. And this is where their defense is going to be very interesting to see how they actually play it off. They started off playing only fancy towards that A bomb site. They're going to go with 2 people towards A initially. And I feel like they're going to have to go aggressive here, because there's no way they're actually going to be able to hold off an execute from Dignitas, or even manage to do well versus a retake. But if somebody finds shots like that through smoke, then they're not going to have any issues at all.
Yeah, that's one way of mitigating the whole issue of having a lack of utility, if you just get a free kill at the very beginning of the round. And Rubino is known for also lurking, so that could allow TyLoo the information they were looking for.
Absolutely. Well, he's going to miss that first shot, and he does not have armor, so he does not want to stick around. This smoke here, Fancy lurking around the corner, could actually be very beneficial if Dignitas kind of forget to clear out the corners as they push up. And as of right now, as you mentioned, Rubino being that lurker does give away a lot of pressure that Dignitas would have been able to have, and TyLoo on their end don't have to be too worried about anyone coming in from behind, breaking up their rotations.
Need to execute. Dignitas Fancy's in the perfect position, but he's not able to hold it down, and neither is Captain Mo. It was a glass cannon up. It's now been shattered, as DD's grenade will chime in for a kill, but now Config is the next player to stand tall for Dignitas, and it's going to have to come down to somebody here. The bomb's already been planted. They're going to line up for him, but he locks them down, and instead it's going to be Attacker up on the headshot. What can he get done from here? He's got a player to his direct right-hand side, flashing.
Kind of botched that flash.
Yep. That's
now he doesn't really
him dead.
Yeah, this should be the end of the round at this point. Not really sure why he's trying to engage towards the side. He doesn't even have a defuse kit, so even if he manages to find those 2 kills on Dignitas, it's a question of whether or not he would have had the time to actually defuse it once it's all over and done with. So rough start for TyLoo so far, and this is one of the worries I had going into this game. If TyLoo get off to a rocky start on their CT side, can't build up that economy, their setups become very volatile and not that strong, because they don't really have too much to work off of. It's a big difference if you have to go, switch over to mag 7s to hold off drop room instead of having that rifle and being able to play your usual passive setup. We're going to have to see how TyLoo deal with this.
Dignitas so far have put very few feet wrong. And speaking of which, Fancy finds himself a bit tongue-tied up on long A. It's now MSL now to take point for his team with the back 10. He'll be checking every single corner, just making sure that TyLoo don't get the drop onto Dignitas from behind. Dig playing this one very smart so far. I think they just pretty much countering what TyLoo bring to the table, and TyLoo don't have any answers.
Yeah, right now, Dignitas are doing something way better than what we've seen. And this is kind of what we've known of Dignitas to do as they've kind of rose to prominence. The fact that they're just thinking about every little decision they make, especially in these anti-eco rounds, using nades, using utilities to just clear out space and moving together as a unit, trying to make or limit the amount of mistakes that are possible to do.
Trade out, going to go in the favor of Dignitas. Captain Mo at the back of the site has options, and he's missed every single Deagle shot. And to add salt in the wound, somebody actually got an assist onto his teammate, so it's all gone horribly wrong for TyLoo. Still early days, but Dignitas have started out in really the best possible way. Their economy's booming, they have a nice, cushy lead, and TyLoo will be coming back into this with a bite. Double ups as well.
Double ups as well, and it's going to be somebody actually to pick up that second op. Previous tournaments, we have seen Fancy pick up that from time and time. Not going to be the case, though. So it's going to be interesting to see how they spread those out. It seems like we're going to have Captain Mo going towards A-Halls, and that means somebody is going to be moving towards that plateau area. Not going to get boosted up, though. He's just going to go hang around Fountain.
Look like Dignitas going to switch the pace up. Last time they executed this quick, it was around 50 seconds left, not a minute and 30. And now they pull the trigger, and there is somebody. One of the two aforementioned orbs has rang out. So much smoke that the teams just can't see each other right now, but it's going to be DD who's the next to get a kill in this round. Somebody in the meanwhile is in the smoke. Config will put down the attacker. Oh, somebody misses that shot, misses the second one. What is happening? What a time to whiff that is. That could cost his team the round. A 2v2.
Tensky deserving of a gold medal in gymnastics after that jump. Some Neo-like stuff.
Spring in his step.
Yeah,
jumps over the bullet. 2v1 Config. Headshot onto Fancy. Leaving Captain Mo, and he's missed. And again, you go back to that moment. If somebody lands the shot, the whole dynamic of the round changes.
Yeah, all of a sudden, sure, you had Cajun and somebody actually is just kind of moving past each other, as you can see here in the smoke and confusion. But if somebody hits the shot, that forces either Cajun or Config to drop their current position, which makes the life of well, everyone on TyLoo's side so much easier. Forces someone out into the open, they're going to have to face together, you get the information that you need to actually set up a proper retake. Instead, somebody who started off that round so well with the first frag kind of falls apart there. Might be the pressure getting to him. There's a lot on the line here.
Oh, absolutely. TyLoo, it would mean everything for them to get to the major. Obviously, same with Dignitas, every team.
Oh, yeah.
It would be a Cinderella story. You know, it wasn't that long since we saw them at Malmo, and they, you know, set the world on fire back then, and we were, okay, so we got a Chinese team that we can really count on to perform. This would be massive for TyLoo if they got this, but I think maybe a bit of nerves are coming into this one. Here's Captain Mo. He's going to try and steady the nerves a little bit. Those two kills are going to go a long way to get TyLoo back into this round, and indeed the map.
And with those two kills, you can see rotation coming in over from TyLoo as well. Two men set very nicely in on that A-bomb side. DD watching towards A-Halls and Fancy close by. Rubino, you know, trying to imitate Summit here.
Or Attacker, who actually burnt himself earlier on
yeah,
short on
there's
Mirage.
been a lot of weird Molotov decision-making from a lot of the players here this weekend. But Rubino will make his way down into drop room, and obviously, if the two members from Dignitas here moving up towards Long Plateau will be able to grab the attention of Attacker, that can put him into the open and give Rubino an easy opening to the B-bomb site. Actually, Rubino's going to be the one to move out first, and he's going to find DD. Narrowly gets that headshot. Will follow up on Attacker as well, and they have no idea that somebody is here. And this time, somebody, you have to hit your shots.
With that, I think we would have seen a rage quit. To be completely honest, the tilt would have been real, and here we go. Finally, TyLoo, welcome to the scoreboard. It should have been a couple rounds ago, but are you able to keep the momentum? Because you've just reset your round loss bonus. The absolute curse would be if you lost now, you'd be flat out broke.
They would find themselves in a similar situation we saw G2 get into versus Gambit in the previous game. They were up 6-1, and well, if your economy breaks at this point, well, hope starts to wane.
Sure does.
They do get a bye though, and this is probably one of the better buys TyLoo has had all game, and that says quite a bit. They don't really have too much utility, but they have a couple of flashes, so they have the option of actually pushing aggressively here. But for now, again, it's that pretty passive setup. Still focusing with two players on that A-bomb site, which makes sense because Dignitas have been very adamant about initially taking control over A halls, making sure they get some room to work with, and whether or not they make some use of it or not, that's obviously varying. But TyLoo not really feeling too safe leaving Fancy or Captain Mo all by themselves.
It's interesting to see how TyLoo have more or less gone back into their shell. Fancy was consistently pushing up long, trying to trade off with Dignitas, feeling like his aim was on point, and now after a couple of missed opportunities, playing more deep, and there's Rubino charging through, eviscerates DD at the cost of great health on his part, but an entry frag very much welcome for Dignitas, and on the other side of the table, TyLoo are going to be silently screaming inside.
Oh, and TyLoo are actually opting to do something that requires a lot of courage here. They're leaving 2 people on the B bomb side, which is normally... Well, you normally never see anyone do that, but Conflict's going to find Captain Mo over on that A bomb site, but they still have Fancy lurking about on that bomb site, and Dignitas might not expect that.
There's the first kill. Bob's been dropped as well in a pretty good position for Fancy, but he's got no support at all. He's going to have to do this one solo. He did do significant damage. Look at the rest of the health bars, and Dignitas, all 4 of them below 20.
And somebody's in a position here to find the frag onto Tensky once that bomb goes down.
First kill goes down.
I think he's seen something towards balcony as well.
This is one of the most doable 1v4s you'll probably see. Second kill. He must know that a player is still on the site. He's going to spin back around again. He spots Tensky, but Rubino comes back from the doors, saves his teammate, and we said the nightmare is a possibility. Well, now it's became a reality event. That economy is straight up broken.
And well, it's Dignitas taking advantage of the fact that TyLoo are playing with 2 players over towards that A bomb site. Rubino doing a really good job so far in this game, actually just getting down into drop. Obviously, if he loses that duel with DD as he drops down from well, the top plateau of drop room, it's a completely different ball game. But with him doing that, TyLoo actually doing the, I guess, the manly choice of not rotating everybody over, gets really hairy. But right now, with the clean eco coming in from TyLoo, you can't expect anything but the massacre we're witnessing. And Dignitas, they have to be feeling really good about themselves. You can see the money across the board here. You've got 3 players sitting on over 10K on the side of Dignitas, so they're not looking to eco pretty much for the rest of the first half.
Whereas the CTs had mid 3 to mid 4K, and in doing so, it's a Mag 7, couple of masses, UMP. It is scraping the bottom of the barrel for TyLoo. The CT's really struggling. And this, there is a danger, a very real danger, man, of this getting into out of control territory, like snowballing down the hill. It's gathering pace already.
It's already feeling like that. Oh, somebody actually lucky to not be able to make that jump because Rubino's already in place on top of that plateau. Attacker does have a Mag 7 with the potential to jump up and down and actually find a head here, but Rubino's going to back off into a bit of a safer position for now. But the rest of the Dignitas team, as per usual with their defaults, focusing on getting app control. Also gotten 1 player down into mid as well.
Oh, that nade! Oh my goodness!
That was...
that's like 150 damage worth.
Versus armor as well.
Jeez.
Oh, and Config not clearing the angle perfectly. Fancy's going to take advantage of that, and Attacker and DD also finding frags here. So now it's down to Tensky and Rubino, and they're very split apart. Tensky's going to go down as well, so now it's all on Rubino. DD on low HP and only Mag 7, so this could still be very doable for Rubino, who has been playing lights out up to this point. But he has no idea where any of the TyLoo members are.
Questionable plays, though, from TyLoo, like jumping up from the van when your teammates weren't in close enough proximity to help you out, and they've let this one slip. But I mean, Rubino, great clutch, but TyLoo, oh man, is this just nerves? Because honestly, they seem to be playing at a much less level than we've seen throughout the rest of the event.
It doesn't really feel like the sharp TyLoo we've seen previously, because we've been hailing them for their individual skill, and that's the 3rd time we see somebody struggle heavily on what should be a free kill. Coming up from behind on Rubino there, with Rubino having no idea what's going on around him. Should be such an easy kill. Sure, you have a FAMAS. It's not the optimal weapon to go into battle with, or I guess an UMP. But still, that should be an easy kill for you.
CZ trumps over Mark 10, although it is the expendable weapon. Tensky with his AK, and is going to put it to task. Double kills. DD is getting low. Bomb planted. An attacker has came in for a kill, and it's looking like it's going to go the way of Dignitas again, but at least TyLoo is still putting up a fight. They're not completely tilting out of this game. That being said, though, when you look at the top of the scoreboard, we will read 10-1 after this round to Dignitas.
It's not an encouraging sight, yeah. Honestly, would have liked to see this pause a tiny bit earlier. And TyLoo, or at least they're getting the money loss bonus. So they will be able to have a pretty okay buy here. And at this point, it's kind of disheartening to say that, you know, going into round 12, you might be looking at their best buy of the entire game.
I think the only buy that may trump this is when they had the double AWPs, but it didn't really do anything. Captain Mo, their AWP is on 2 for 11 on Cobblestone. I mean, that's just simply not good enough.
Yeah, that it really isn't. And those 2 frags, those were FAMAS kills. As Dignitas tried to control over A-Halls, and Mo sitting in a bit of an off angle, down in danger, catching them by surprise. But as of right now, there's so much for TyLoo to do differently. We talked about how their playstyle is normally, or their CT style is normally very passive, and that's clearly not working out because Dignitas are being given so much room to work with here. And you can tell that every time they set up in a default, they can pretty much do whatever they want. They dictate the pace, they make TyLoo rotate as they like, and Rubino is still not being challenged whether or not he chooses to go down into drop room or go out on that long B plateau. He's just staying alive for such a long time that TyLoo can't really make any sort of aggressive move to take over the map or do anything useful. And, well, Team Dignitas, they're just going to make full advantage of that each and every time.
Sure are. Right now, Config has 15 for 6, Rubino 13 for 4, and it's going to be a fast push from Rubino straight through the smoke. Lands the shot onto attacker, looking for a second, beautiful headshot, and it could be good for a few more. He's only lost 17 health. He comes in for a 3rd kill. A one-man wrecking crew is Rubino, and just like that, the tactical pause has been for naught because this is going to be another round to Dignitas.
Yeah, Dignitas changing the pace up, and again, the problem with TyLoo's weird economy is the fact that they don't have the nades to actually hold off early pushes like this. Oftentimes you'll see CT sides either putting down a Molotov, a smoke, multiple flashes, nades towards that long plateau and drop room simply just to hold off the T-side teams so they can't do quick rushes like this so you can get into proper positions, and instead you just have Dignitas running a freight train over the Chinese team right now.
Absolutely juggernaut. Stops for no man. TyLoo will be into another force at this point. They pretty much just have to get as many rounds as they possibly can. I mean, you're not going to get a really solid buyout for the rest of this half, more than likely.
Yeah, and if anything, then you're banking everything on having a T side that gets you 14 rounds. So things are looking really rough for TyLoo right about now. And again, Dignitas, knowing the kind of situation TyLoo find themselves economically, they're just going to go back to their same old default because there's no reason for them to change anything up. It's going to be Rubino all by his lonesome towards that B bomb site, and you can see the 3 defenders from TyLoo somewhat near him, but Rubino doesn't really have to do anything yet. Dignitas towards the A bomb site though, where the majority of their players are, just going to take some control of that A halls and potentially set up for another A execute.
And what a time for Dignitas to pull out their best performance of the entire event.
Absolutely, but I do have to say that I think it's a mixture of Dignitas playing way better than what we've seen previously in the qualifier, and TyLoo showing their lowest level to this point.
Sure.
Well, here comes the smokes for that A execute, but the bomb's already on the way over towards that B site, and now we'll see what kind of rotation we get out of TyLoo here, because Dignitas are going to try to go through connector here with Cajun. That's definitely going to catch Mo off guard, and while the entire TyLoo's team is split up in 2s.
The trap is sprung from Dignitas. TyLoo will be battling right to the bitter end and actually have the player advantage for a second before Config gets himself his 16th kill alongside Rubino. The 2 top fraggers, 32 kills between them, stand tall for Dignitas. TyLoo, Fancy and Didi, 2 very talented players, but haven't really shown us even a small fraction of what they're capable of thus far on Cobblestone. This is a much needed round. They may as well go for this. There's no point saving. You're already at that point of no return. Rubino has a good crossfire with Config. I just can't see how this happens, or hold on a second because Fancy gets a kill before dropping. There's no defuse kit in the hands of Didi, who's already picked up 3 kills. Rubino's going to go for the repick, lands the frag. And Dignitas leap to a 12th round.
They can do no wrong at this point. Absolutely, and it's a valiant hold from TyLoo. They managed to not get completely flustered by the fact that Dignitas are doing a bit of an unorthodox B split, doing it through mid instead of drop room as you'd usually see, and actually pick up quite a few kills, but at this point, they just need rounds.
What a demoralizing way to go out this would be. If TyLoo don't at least mount somewhat of a comeback.
Absolutely. I guess if you're TyLoo at this stage, you kind of have to look at it as a learning experience, because there's definitely a lot you can pick up a lot of errors you can correct for the future. And Mo's actually going to have an impact here early on, finding the first back onto MSL. So finally they get some sort of denial towards that access towards the A-halls in mid-area, where Dignitas have been more or less able to have free reign over for the better part of the game. And Rubino, same position as always here, above drop room. And well, there's a bit of a change. TyLoo actually having 2 people looking towards that area, and for good reason, because Rubino has just been making mincemeat of the defenders on that B bomb site.
Single-handedly, often 1v2, able to wreck players. DD has the angle covered, but that flash completely destroys him. And that could open the floodgates again for Dignitas. Good hold from somebody. Can he get a third? No. Rubino up to the task. He escalates his way to 20 frags already in the first half, but he is going to have to pull off his third clutch. He wants to keep TyLoo from getting 2 more, and attacker goes walkies and he gets punished in the worst possible way. Headshotted down from Rubino. Rubino has the bomb in 23 seconds. He gets tagged up from the side, but Fancy couldn't finish what he started. Finally he does, and TyLoo have picked up a second.
And man, oh man, TyLoo are trying to make this hard for themselves. There's no reason for attacker to be out there spreading or working about. I'm not really sure what goes into that, because obviously Rubino in that kind of a situation, he has to find a bomb, he has to plant, and TyLoo should be aware of it. So all you need to do as TyLoo is stick together, make sure you're in a position where you can get the trade frag and not put one of your players into that horrifying moment where he has to clutch a 1v1 versus, well, the best playing player on the opponent's side. Like, it's really that simple. So TyLoo now really getting flustered. Fancy to start things off, gets traded up by MSL though. Rubino's just charging up mid here.
For the second time of asking. Captain Mo actually with a second kill. Impressive warp work. Missed the easier shots, landed the 2 harder ones. And it seems like TyLoo are going to end this half with a bang. Would be their first time of getting 2 consecutive rounds. A sad stat, consider this is round 15, but it's a whole lot better than going 13-2 behind, I guess. But Tensky's still alive. He's going to have a few things to say about this. He hadn't played well earlier today, though, for Dignitas. I think he was one of the weaker performing members.
Yeah, both him and Rubino had a bit of a lackluster event, in all honesty, but there's definitely room to... well, they're not really going to matter if they qualify, honestly, but a bit of an uphill battle here for Tensky. And right now, pretty decent positioning from TyLoo, and DD is going to make short work of that. Finds him out from the APC, and 3 rounds for TyLoo. And, well, we're going to be going to a quick break before we get going with the second half.
welcome back to the wreckage. TyLoo are struggling, to say the least. Quite simply put, they have to mount in an incredible comeback if they want to qualify for the major. This is their last chance. Dignitas just need 4 rounds to qualify.
Yeah, and I guess the redeeming factor here is that it has been a bit of a trend to have 2 very one-sided halves so far in this tournament, so maybe TyLoo can mount a comeback. But the scary part is that for the better part of this tournament, they've been very weak on their T side. Well, moving into middle, Tensky's going to find the early frag onto somebody, and he's going to back off smartly, leading them into MSL, who's ready with his USP, and he's going to find Captain Mo as well. DD does return, but already TyLoo's weekend. They do find out MSL though, but what a parting gift from the Danish captain.
Bullet between the eyes on his way out.
Yeah.
Not too shabby, but Dignitas do have the player advantage. A must-win round for TyLoo. Fancy should get the drop on config as he comes round. Fancy made a meal of that, but he did finally finish it.
Goes back to what we were talking about earlier. These TyLoo players do not seem to be on their game today, or well, in this particular game, because normally that's just an easy one tap and on you go. Instead, Fancy takes so much damage that he's easy pickings for Cajun. Well, it's all on DD. He does have the bomb and he does have a smoke. He's going to use it to smoke off doors here. So he might be able to cross. Or actually, this is going to serve as bait, but there's nobody from Dignitas anywhere near that B-bomb site yet.
They have heard it.
They have heard the smoke popping, so this is actually going to send them over towards B's. If this works out, then brilliant mind game from DD.
Again, though, Dignitas will just stick together. So even if they do bite on this bait, they'll probably wrap themselves round together as well from the B side. Ooh, DD's being tabbed. The USP battle commences and ends in the blink of an eye. Dignitas pick up the second pistol, and for me, then, I want to be optimistic. That's probably the last lifeline TyLoo had.
Don't worry, they're going to buy 5 Deagles, armor, 5 shots the entire round. Okay, they're going to go with CZs. That works as well. Just got to keep hope alive.
I wanted, man, but then the realistic part of my brain's like, bruh, this is already over.
It does feel pretty rough to see how TyLoo are going to be able to scratch their way back into this. Smoke 2 flashes. One of them is probably going to be used pretty early on here as they make their way towards A-halls. Oh, well, TyLoo, they're just banking everything on Lady Fortuna at this point. 2 Dignitas players towards that A-bomb site. That's Tensky and MSL. Tensky's already looking towards that A-halls, figuring that something's up.
It's a nice flash, but all it does is just delay the push for a few more seconds. Tensky's going to pull his grenade out as well. It's a bit too deep, but the MP9 is up to the task. 3 kills for Tensky. Oh, TyLoo rolled the dice. They got snake eyes, and now they are being pummeled. Where's the referee to stop this match?
If this had been a UFC match, this would have been over about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Right now, it's an unfortunate combo. Dignitas playing their best game of the tournament at the right time, and TyLoo doing the direct opposite. Again, it's going to be a desperation buy coming in from TyLoo. They just have to hope that something works. They're throwing everything against the wall, hoping something sticks. Well, a couple of flashes and a smoke on Captain Mo, and well, they might just try to pop flash someone down into drop room here, the way they're setting up. And I guess luckily for them, Dignitas they've decided to not have a very active hold towards drop room. It's pretty much Rubino just watching for window if anybody drops out in case of a split here, and then Cajun outside by the rock. And well, here TyLoo comes.
They're going to be looking to push these CZs and the Deagles down the throat of Dignitas and keep clicking till there's no more bullets left. But Cajun being config with their FAMASs and the assault rifles do the talking for them. Captain Mole remains not for too much longer. And Dignitas have 12 match points, 12 major points, I suppose you could say, for their qualification.
And you'd be very surprised if they don't manage to close this out at this point.
Yep.
Again, a bit of a better buy from TyLoo, but in all honesty, they don't really have the utility to set up for a proper execute, so they're going to have to rely on winning out aim duels or just hitting those lucky flashes to catch Dignitas off guard. But to this point, none of the players really on TyLoo's side have been in that kind of a form.
Yeah, we haven't really seen any glimpses of brilliance from TyLoo, in all honesty. The kills they've got have been low-impact frags. Dignitas have had their way with this game.
Yeah, no, outside of, well, Fancy's pistol round where he picks up 2 frags, and that's a round they eventually lose anyway. Hasn't been too much to write home about. And then you've got DD on a couple of retakes and whatnot, you know, showing a valiant effort. But in the end, it's not all that much.
All right, TyLoo, let's see what you've got. What could be the last round of TyLoo's, and indeed Dignitas' tournament is right here, right now. DD and somebody are both going to keep the dream alive for a few more moments. But is it just going to delay the inevitable Cajun B? Pluck somebody out of midair, goes clay pigeon shooting.
But look at Captain Moan. He's been able to get down into drop room unnoticed. And well, oh, somehow Rubino has his spider senses. They're tingling. Well, Mo does get a frag onto Cajun, but Rubino cleans that up quickly after. So now it's all on DD. The top fragger for TyLoo, and he's going to have to be the one to dig them out of this ditch.
Players coming from his left and his right. Smoke, 20 seconds to go. As the bomb, going to try and isolate the 2 remaining defenders. This is his best chance of getting it clutched. He's going to be in a 1v1. Rubino gets headshotted down. 10 seconds. He seems to think maybe Balcony's about to get aggressed on its config. The other top fragger for the side of Dignitas that now stands between him and a 4th round. DD. You can see by his movement that he's not feeling it right now. The spray down, but he comes out second best. A must-kill. Dignitas are going to pick up a 16th. You can see how much it means to them. They'll be going to Cologne. They're going to be attending the major.
Breaking the curse, and for the better part of this tournament, it looked like Dignitas would be the odd one out once again, but showing up in this final match with their best performance of the entire tournament as well. Not a bad time to show up big.
They've had some trials and tribulations, some ups and downs, but finally Dignitas have secured themselves a spot at the major where they'll be looking to challenge
the very best. And if you're TyLoo, what a disheartening way to go out. You know, came in very strong. You know, losing the first game to G2, nobody really would have expected them to actually knock them out. Then we saw them come back in a big way versus Immortals, and well, at least I started to believe that we might see a Chinese team at the major, but wasn't meant to be.
They're going to be absolutely gutted, but let's look at the positives. TyLoo came into this qualifier. They did win 2 matches. They did very nearly qualify for the major.
Absolutely.
If you go back 6 months, these guys would have probably dreamt of even being in this position in the first place. So they have made progress. Obviously, that's not going to necessarily soften the blow right now, but there are positives to be had here. Yes, the last game was a landslide loss. Yes, it's going to be painful, but they had some shining lights as well.
No, absolutely, and obviously, with how the scene is, you know, rapidly improving over in Asia, this is just, you know, another experience for them to take with them home, continue to work on their game, and come back stronger for the next major. Because I don't think there's any doubt that we're going to be seeing more of TyLoo in the future.
Well, definitely not. And again, Dignitas almost saved their best to last. That's the best performance we've seen from them. They looked very solid. Yes, TyLoo had some issues. That much is definitely apparent and clear, but fair play to Dig.
Absolutely. The way they play their T side, mixing it up with you know, their standard default rounds towards A, and then pretty much whenever there was any money to be resembled on the side of TyLoo, you had the quick aggression towards that B bomb side, and Rubino has to be kind of spotlighted as the man of the match for Dignitas. I think he ended up on 26 and 8, and after being pretty much anonymous for the better part of the tournament, shows up big.
For sure, and I think speaking of Rubino, I believe Mitch has secured an interview with him on the stage. Take it away.
Yes, gentlemen, we are here on the main stage. We did go and ask Dignitas who they would like to send for an interview, and they all pointed straight at Rubino and smiled, so I think it's pretty clear who they wanted to say the final words here as well. Let's go esports question number 1 on this guy. How's it feeling right now for you guys? It's been a tough fight through this event. It took you all the way to your final game. Was there ever any point that you thought you wouldn't be able to make it?
I believe in my teammates. We as a team, we believe in ourselves, and we know that everything is possible until it's done. So we were positive, and yeah, we won.
You actually did. Yep, fair call. You yourself had a fantastic game. Look, and I know a lot of players don't like to talk about themselves and they really want to include the team, but we do want to highlight your individual performance as a big deal here because it was a little bit of a quieter start for you in this tournament, at least as far as the scoreboard's concerned. But you're a monster. 21 kills at halftime, then you went 28-6 or 26-8 or something similar than that as well. So incredible effort from you. Did you just feel like things were clicking in this game? I mean, do you feel different in that game than the ones prior, perhaps?
Well, everything worked from the start. I felt like the team spirit was really nice. Everyone was talking really good. It made me make things that I usually don't do because everyone was talking so good. They gave me the good information, and I was just telling them like, okay, I will do this thing, and you can do whatever you want to. If it works for me, I will continue, and that's it actually. Yeah.
And Dignitas last time around, where it didn't make the major, of course, and it was a crushing time for all of them now as well. In those last moments, when you knew you were pretty much ahead, what were you saying to each other? What was going on? You were saying that the communication was really good. What were you saying to each other maybe to motivate each other in that situation?
Well, like we started pretty bad this tournament, losing versus FaZe. I think we just made some dumb mistakes, and the rest of the tournament we maybe took a bad map, but we felt confident playing Nuke since we have been practicing a lot, and in practice it has been working really good for us. But apparently it didn't work as good on this tournament. But we just learned from it, and we need to continue improving.
We can't wait to see you at the major. Your improvement over this tournament has been excellent, of course, and people have had high hopes, and they have been justified. Thank you so much. Yes, of course.
I hope my mom from the sky is watching me. This is a memory from my mom. So I hope she is very glad watching me and everything like that. And yeah.
One of many proud of Rabino and his team, no doubt about it. Well, that wraps that one up a little bit here as well. We might throw it over to the desk, I think, to wrap this one up a little bit, Alex.
Damn it, Rabino, you've got my eyes twinkling.
I got a little bit more emotional than I was expecting it to.
Yeah, I think
all right.
we all got
Well,
a little bit,
yeah. Okay. Well, passionate performance from Rabino and Co. And the Dignitas have secured that major spot. Deep breaths from me, so I don't completely lose it. Natu, Lauren, let's just kind of try and touch on where those strengths lie. I mean, I like what Rabino said in that interview. I was doing things that I wouldn't normally do because of how good we felt, and it did look like that from Dignitas.
Yes.
Perfect performance.
So I just want to pick that up. Even him following up by saying about the communication working, you see that coming through in teams like Fnatic, for example, where they feel confident with each other, playing perfectly. You get that confidence building, and that's exactly what they had. Don't get me wrong, TyLoo opted to be the punching bag in that, and they did defeat themselves on some occasions, but Dignitas saw all of those weak spots and exploited them every single time.
Exactly. Apply pressure when you see weakness, and that's exactly what Dignitas were doing. And they were so decisive with everything they were doing, and they were, just like Reno was saying, it seemed like they were communicating so well, just playing off each other all the time and trading effectively. There was not a situation where the numbers were not favoring them. When you add the added bonus of TyLoo players were not really playing that well at all.
Yeah.
Seemed very nervous, so when you put those two things together, this is the kind of scrolling you're going to get.
And I've got to say as well, even Captain Mo at the end of it in the last round, you can see him, he just took his headset off. You know, and even the admins had to come back and be like, no, headset back on, you're not done yet. Even though there was a player alive, he was like, no, I'm out. At the end of the day, it takes an incredibly experienced team to come into such decisive games like that and still perform, whether or not you need an in-game leader, a coach behind someone to keep your head in, because at the end of the day, TyLoo should never have performed that badly. No. Even with Dig being that good, it never should have been that decisive. So in my eyes, they need maybe either a bit of a core structure around them to help them get over that mental kind of this is everything to us block. But of course it is everything. It's still the ticket to the major. It's life-changing moments for these guys, and well, Dignitas have got theirs, and sadly for TyLoo, they've gone the furthest and now had to bow out.
Yeah, a redemption for Dignitas, of course, off the back of what happened over in Columbus. And that's all we really have to say about that one. All we really have time for, because there's so much more CS on the way. More will be seen from TyLoo, but not at the major. They're going to be going home with lots of lessons learned and lots of valuable experience gained. But Dignitas are the team to join the other teams, waiting in the wings for Cologne next month. Right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, you better believe it's a big one. A domestic rivalry, and I mean rivalry. Bondic versus his old team, and just one team makes it to the major. Flipside versus Hellraisers after the break.